ribbons of sound, the bright streamer of a child's giggle, and ice cream fans flourish like a sparkler in the gloom. The chatter of a long-finished game. Birdsong spiralling, then stiffening and falling to the earth, congealing into something hard and metallic, measured out into mechanical portions. A harsh trilling. Again. A pause. Again. Smudge opened her eyes and squinted. A ray of light thrust its way past the tie-dyed sarong tacked to the windowsill to pick out dead flies, plastic bags, the vodka bottle lying on its side. Morning, was it? No. Afternoon, always afternoon, when the sun came in at that angle. The day almost spent. Pens, matches, tampons strewn across the table. A half-smoked cigarette burrowing into the plastic veneer, puckering it like a scar. A toothbrush, lying on its side next to an ice cube tray with its recesses clogged with purple and magenta, like dried blood. From the armchair she looked up at the canvas that was propped on the shelf above the fireplace. The canvas was pushing it. It was really a piece of newspaper pinned to the seat of a chair. But it had been enough last night, or the night before, or whenever it was, to get her buzzing, charging around the flat in search of anything to help her create the colours and shapes surging in her mind. She wished she could recapture it now, the inspiration rolling in like a breaker, only to crash against the seawall of her consciousness and drain away, pulling her with it to drift on a grey ocean, leaving only wreckage behind. The canvas testified to what had happened, the bright squabble of colours in the top right corner giving way to a thin wash, and then nothing. A headline about a pensioner who had been mugged in the alleyway up the road. The absorbing idea had gone, but the voices that crowded in to fill any blank spaces, muttering and snarling, were still. For now. Good. That was something. That was something at least. Out into this world, tiny little thing, before its time, and a godful, what, girl? Yes, tiny little girl, out into this, before her time, God-forsaken hole called, no matter, parents unknown, unheard of, he having vanished thin air, no sooner buttoned up his breeches, she similarly, 8 months later, almost to the tick. So no love, spared that. No such love as normally vented on the speechless infant in the home, no, nor indeed for that matter of any of any kind, no love of any kind at any subsequent stage, so typical affair, nothing of any note till coming up to 60 when, what, 70? Good God, coming up to 70, wandering in a field, looking aimlessly for cow's lips to make a ball. A few steps, then stop, stare into space, then on, stop and stare again, so on, drifting around when suddenly, gradually, all went out, all that early April morning light. She found herself in the, what, who, no, she found herself in the dark, and if not exactly insentient, for she could still hear the buzzing, so-called, in the ears, and a ray of light came and went, such as the moon might cast, drifting in and out of cloud, but so dulled, feeling feeling so dulled, for she did not know what position she was in. Imagine what position she was in, whether standing or sitting, but the brain, still. What? Kneeling? Yes, whether standing or sitting or kneeling, but the brain! What? Lying? Yes, whether standing or sitting or kneeling or lying, but the brain! Still. Still, in a way. For her first thought was, oh, long after, sudden flash, brought up as she had been to believe with the other waifs, in a masterful, ha! God! Ha ha ha! First thought, oh, long after, she was being punished for her sins, a number of which then, further proof if proof were needed, flashed through her mind, one after another, then dismissed as foolish. Oh, long after, thought dismissed, when suddenly, gradually, she realised she was not suffering. Imagine, not suffering! She doesn't really talk about it. Well, sometimes. I don't know. Once in a while I get a phone call and she's on the other end in tears and I don't know, freeze up. Because what can I actually say to her? I don't know what she's going through. How can I? I can give her fuck all. I keep thinking though, what if this happens to me? Because it happens all the time. And now every time I walk home I think, is this going to be my moment? Like, as if like it's definitely going to happen. And I keep thinking, what am I wearing now? And sometimes I think I'm fucking crazy. And then I think I'm just being sensible, because, you know, it does happen a lot. And then I think that crazy people think that they're just being sensible, so yeah. But it does happen all the time. He cut off all her hair. Her mum didn't tell me that on the phone, so when I went to see her, I didn't know what to do. Should I mention it? It was like this giant elephant in the room. She looked so awful, and I just sat there. They haven't caught the guy who... I hope they do. I want him to go to prison, like, really want him to go to prison. I think about it quite a lot, actually, him in prison. Not in a weird way. I guess it is weird, though. I want him in one of those shower rooms, like you see in those films, all white. And I want him alone in just this big white room thing then, right? Some hand, a big hand, strong, grabs him right round the neck, then the guy with the hand throws him to the floor on all fours like a fucking dog. He squeals, but he shuts the fuck up because he knows what's coming, so he just waits. And then it comes big and hard into his tiny, virginal little asshole. The force knocks him to the ground. It's so hard it's breaking the skin. It's actually fucking drawing blood. I just think about it going in and out and in and out, and with every thrust he gulps down another scream, and with one final whack, the guy comes like it was nothing. He can feel the blood and semen trickle down his crack. He starts to cry, and the guy just licks the tears away. Because her body is winter inside a cave. Because someone built fire there and forgot to put it out. Because bedtime is a castle she's building inside herself with a moat and portcullis and buckets full of mist. Because when you let go the reins, horses tumble over cliffs and turn to moths before hitting bottom. Because their hooves leave streaks of midnight in the sky. Because when the world got shoved up inside her, she held it tight like a kegel ball. And wondered at the struggle Atlas had, carrying such a tiny thing on his back.